It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Morning Perspective. Good morning, Patricia. Hot on it this morning, right on before the preview video even got done this morning. So today is Tuesday, September 10th. That means there is 111 days left in 2019. Only 79 days until Thanksgiving, and Christmas will be here in just 106 days, just over 3 months. So why do I tell you guys what day it is? And sometimes I mention how many days are left in the year. Because I think it's important for us to maintain that perspective of time, right? I think it's critically important for us to understand, what time takes to capitalize on, what it takes every single day to invest in yourself to make magic happen in the long term. And so I want to maintain that perspective of time for you guys by mentioning that every single morning. And so that actually leads me into today's topic, how to make your dreams a reality. And so I'm going to give you some real tactical ways to make your dreams a reality, to make that happen for you. And by the way, what I'm going to tell you this morning is from real experience in my life. It is not some theory. It is not, something that I read in the book that I'm going to tell you about. It's something that has actually happened in my life, and I'll give you the examples as we go. Good morning, Dean, Zach, Dina, Judd, Chris, Bruce. What's happening, guys? Thanks for jumping on here this morning. So, how do we make our dreams a reality? The number one thing that I can tell you guys is that, if you want to make your dreams a reality, then the number one thing that you have to do is never stop dreaming, right? And often as adults, what happens with us is that, we settle into this life that we have, and we just get so comfortable with that life that we actually just stop dreaming. We actually don't believe that we will ever have, or that we shouldn't have, any more than what we do. And so that's the first thing that I want to break for you guys, is that if you're kind of in that place where you're just, maybe you're not even in a rut necessarily. People view, not dreaming or being in that place as being in a rut. It doesn't have to necessarily feel like you're in a rut, like there's something negative going on for you to kind of experience what I'm talking about. Some people just settle into their life and they say, this is where I'm going to live, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is just the life that I was meant to have. And so I would tell you guys to think back to when, you were a kid. And so for me, from the time that I was really little, I was always a big dreamer. Like I always, had these outlandish stories that I would tell my parents about, what I was going to do. And so I came up with those things always, on my own, like, in a quiet place when I was thinking about and just being creative as a kid. And so the same thing is necessary for us to do as adults. And so, the bullet point that I wrote down here is take the time to dream. And by the way, guys, it takes quiet time to do that the right way, to really tap into what you're thinking about for your life. It requires some quiet time. And in today's world, we don't get a whole lot of that if we don't take it intentionally. So remember that. Make sure that you take the time to get to a quiet place. For me, I go to a park. I go to somewhere. I leave my phone in the car. I just get to a place where I can have some quiet time to just kind of unwind my mind, focus on what's important for me. And I don't put any restrictions, by the way, on what I think about, what I'm thinking about, where I want to go. I've had these conversations with a couple of people who are on this stream, but I don't put any restrictions on it. I'm 40 years old. So for those people who think, man, it's just not set for, it's not the right thing for me. I'm 40 years old. I got 3 kids and one on the way. And I'm here to tell you that many of the people that I've studied, read about, that have been some of the most successful people of all time didn't actually make it until their 40s, 50s, some of them in their 60s. So it is never too late to start doing this activity. So don't put any restrictions on it and just spend some quiet time thinking about, what do I actually want my life to look like? The second point of that is that it is extremely important. So if you think about a dream, you create a dream in your mind during that quiet time, it's really important to spend some time actually creating the emotion, tying the emotion of what it would feel like to accomplish that. I've said this before on this show, but it's really important to tie the emotion of what it would feel like to accomplish that goal to the goal itself. So if you can feel what that feels like to accomplish it. So when I think about the house that I have on that dream board, on the vision board behind me, I think about what it would feel like to walk into that house, what it would feel like to sit next to the pool, what it would feel like to see my children running around in that house. And when I do that, it creates a more visual reality of that dream. And so it gets me closer and closer. By the way, guys, it's scientifically proven that if you can tie emotion to those dreams that you have a much, much, much higher likelihood of achieving them. So make sure that you tie emotion to what you want and what you want to accomplish. Once you establish what you want, you have to create a plan that allows you to work a little or a lot, if you're going after it full time, every single day to make that happen. So for some of you, your dream is going to start as a side hustle, and that's okay. It starts that way for a lot of people. If you go back and read about a lot of successful people start with their dream, what they want to accomplish, getting closer to having the things that they want by choosing the right thing to do. They start that as a side hustle, right? But your dream is, as far as your professional career, may start as a side hustle. There are a few components that you have to establish to make sure that your dream becomes a reality, all right? So those are, number one, you have to choose a vehicle, and you have to choose the right vehicle. So that means you have to have a way of working that produces income that you're going to use to accomplish the rest. And maybe that career is part of your dream. Maybe, working in the right job, feeling fulfilled, feeling happy is part of that dream. And that is all part of it, right? So when you're dreaming about it, it's your career, your personal life, what you want to have, all those things are part of your dream. So number one is the vehicle. You got to choose the right vehicle. And I, when we get to the end here, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about when it comes down to choosing the right vehicle. Good morning, Justin, Dayton, Kyle. What's happening, guys? When I say choosing the right vehicle, you'll understand at the end what I'm talking about. Is we're going to go through some mathematics about what it actually takes to make sure that you can reach the goals that you want. But so the right vehicle. Number two is the right people. Who are the people, and identify them clearly, that are going to help you get where you want to go? Too many people try to do this alone. There's a ton of solo entrepreneurs out there. The number one thing that I do when I coach or mentor people is I start to create that vision for them of who else are you going to need to do this? When are you going to hire those people? How are you going to bring them into your organization or into your circle, into your influence? Because it takes more than just you. Tons of people try to do it alone, and they end up getting exhausted, and their dreams come crashing down because they try to go after it all by themselves. Or sometimes, in some cases, they're too greedy and they want to keep all that money to themselves. And I'm here to tell you guys, it doesn't work. Like, it is not something that you want to do because it will exhaust you over a period of time, and you'll end up being far less successful that way. So number one, the right vehicle. Number two, getting the right people and setting that path of how you're going to do that. Number 3 is having the right plan. So the plan comes down to, this isn't about creating some crazy detailed business plan. Here's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about running the numbers to see exactly what you need to do to move yourself in that direction. If Justin Myers is still on this stream, Justin, please comment about the exercise that you and I went through about average sale, etc., and tell people how it changed the way that you looked at business, right? So what is the average sale in your business that you want to be in? So what does it take? What is is it $1,000? Is it $5,000? Is it $100? You have to understand what the average transaction in that business is. If you don't understand that, you're going to have a really hard time with the rest of the numbers. I can promise you that. So once you understand what it takes for the average, what the average sale is, then you're going to say, how many sales is it going to take to make me successful, to get me to where I want to be? How many sales is it going to take? Fair question, right? If you don't have this stuff, guys, you're not going to end up being successful. At that point, it's not a goal, it's not a dream, it's a pipe dream, right? And so what do you think? What is the average sale? How many sales does it take to make you successful? And then what is the average close rate? So out of how many people I talk to, how many people am I going to close? That's a really important equation. And ask some people. If you don't know, ask some other people that are in that industry, and they will probably share with you what the industry average is. In fact, you can Google that. I have Googled that. I believe HubSpot is who has it online, but you can Google what is the average close rate in this industry, and you can figure out what that is. And then after you figure out the average close rate, you're going to know exactly how many people that you need to get in front of to make those dreams a reality from an income standpoint, right? And the income is what produces all the rest of it. So the house back there, all the cars, everything that I've got on that vision board, it takes money to make those things happen, right? And so you have to reverse engineer everything that you do in your life. So we've got the right vehicle, the right people, the right plan, and finally, and this one is absolutely the most important, one of the most important pieces of it. The people are probably the most important, but the resources. What other pieces of the puzzle exist out there to help you get there? Other companies, other people you can align yourself with, other companies that work together create unbelievable momentum. There's an African proverb that I want to share with you guys that I think is one that has stuck with me forever. I heard this on an Ed Milet interview with an MMA fighter. His name is the Big Pygmy. And he referred to this African proverb, and it's stuck with me since that day. It was, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so when you talk about the resources that you need to get around you to make yourself more successful, this is one of the most critical pieces that people miss. That there's tons of people out there that they can work with that make things go faster, create more stability, create better visibility in the market to create what you want. And people are either afraid or hesitant for some reason to do that. I'm here to tell you, it is the one thing in my career that has changed the game and made everything more fun and made it go 10 times faster than it ever would have if I didn't do it. And so I'm going to tell you guys a story about myself and how all of these things have played into my life just to make it so that you guys understand it, that it's believable. So I was in the asphalt maintenance business. I went through a lot of turmoil, worked at places that just didn't work out. It was up and down. I worked for a bunch of people. Every time I turned around, there was something going wrong. But I really enjoyed the business. And so I ended up going and getting a different sales job and saying, man, I'm just gonna start a company as a side hustle or something like that. But at any rate, I got another job outside of the industry. As I was working that job, I absolutely knew that this industry, the asphalt maintenance industry, was the vehicle for me. I just knew it. And so I knew that that industry was something I could be successful at and something that I truly enjoyed doing every single day. I enjoyed the people that I worked with, the customers, all of those things. So I knew the vehicle. I knew a lot of people in the industry. And although I had a lot of bad experiences, I knew that there was a lot of people that I had worked with that would be able to make me successful down the road, right? That I could partner with, that I could have on my team, that I could align with inside or outside of my business. Some of those people are on this stream right now. But I knew the people who would be part of that vehicle that would help me get to where I was going. And so I never planned on doing it alone. And those people have absolutely come together and helped me in more ways than I could ever describe to you get where I'm going. And by the way, that number of people has expanded over the years by connecting and networking and constantly being open to new people coming into our organization to help. Whether it's working for us or working with us in their own roles, we're open to all of that. Number three, I had the plan. I knew the plan. I'd worked in the industry. I knew how the numbers worked, and I knew what type of work I needed to get to create that success. I also had a vision for other things that were coming, like Top Contractor School, like all of these other things. So I want to share this with you guys because, and if Judd is still on this stream, he can attest to it. I believe I've showed it to Justin Myers and maybe a few other people that are on this stream. But back when I was first brand new to the asphalt maintenance, to the construction industry, I figured out like what was going on and how the influence in that business worked. And so I was sitting at a bar on Fort Lauderdale Beach called the Elbow Room, and I drew on a bar napkin. I drew a big circle, and I put a company inside that circle in the center, and I drew all these lines to the outside of that circle with all the things that other companies that were like the one that I was working for at the time, what they needed. What they needed to be successful was marketing, materials, equipment, coaching, training, all these different things, right? Technology. They needed all these different things to be successful. And so my thought was, how do we create this whole circle? How do we get all of those resources together? And if we did, then how successful would that make the company in the center if the company in the center could actually provide those solutions to people? It was a thought, right? And so I drew that on a bar napkin. That bar napkin eventually became a keynote presentation design with a circle and a bunch of stuff. And it's a lot more fancy than it was then. But that was probably in 2012, 2013, something like that. And I share that story, guys, because in the last 24 months, and so, if that was 2013, it took 4 or 5 years of kind of up and down, all kinds of things. But that idea never left my mind, right? That dream never left my mind. It was always there in the forefront. And so I tell you that because that dream in the last 24 months has actually become a reality. And what that has done for my businesses, what it has done for my life to have the people necessary to create all of those things, I can't even put it into words. And so I tell you guys that because I never want you to stop. In those moments where you think your dream may not happen, never give up. Just keep pushing. Just keep pushing. Do whatever you have to do to keep that dream alive. Never give up. I said to someone yesterday, I hope that the day that I stop dreaming perfectly aligns with the day that I take my last breath. And I'm not wishing myself to not be here any sooner. I say that because I hope it never stops. I hope that that's the only thing that stops it. is for me to stop dreaming about this life that I have, because those dreams, guys, are what keep you alive, like truly alive, not breathing, but like truly alive in your life. And so I have a lot of friends that go through tough times. Some of them are on this stream. Some of them want to give up. And I always ask them the same question. How do you view yourself in that dream? How happy are you as an individual when you live in that dream? And how happy are you when you settle? And so I would just encourage you guys to, number one, take the time to continue dreaming. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how many times you failed. I don't care how much bad stuff has happened in your life. It happens to everybody. Take the time to dream. And when you dream, the way that you create those dreams and make them a reality is by doing the math, getting the right people, setting the right plan, aligning with the right resources. And I promise you guys, you're going to be on your way to creating something that you never imagined was possible. I am far from where I want to be in life, but the life that I have every day, the people that I get to interact with, the joy that I get from accomplishing the things that back in the day were just what we're talking about. They were just a dream. It's pretty cool. You know, when I made that board, I think I mentioned this on another episode as well. When I made that board, I thought to myself, man, if I made that board 5 years ago, I would have had to change out all the stuff on it, because I have it all. I have everything that I would have dreamed of having 5 years ago. I possess a lot of it, if not all of it. And so I'm telling you guys, keep pushing. Keep helping people. Keep dreaming big. Keep doing all those things. And I'm telling you, you way underestimate what you can do in a long period of time. You way overestimate what you should be doing today, what you can do today. But over a long period of time, chaining together those days of success, of those wins, of those, just constant momentum, constant loyalty in the same direction to the same goals, it creates magic. And so that's what I want for all of you guys. And that's why I do this show. Man, the messages that I get encourage me every single day to keep doing it, to try to come up with, new ways to put things out to you guys. Good morning, Clayton. What's happening, man? There's a guy that's crazy successful, humble, willing to help anybody. He's a real estate guy here in Pittsburgh, just a great human. There's so many people in this circle that we're building, guys, and the energy in this circle is unbelievably powerful. And so that's what I'm trying to create, something that people can come to where you don't feel like you're crazy. If you have big dreams, there's a lot of people in this world that are going to tell you that you're crazy. And I'm here to tell you that you're not. I'm here to tell you that whatever you want in this life, you should have it, and you should work your ass off to go and get it. Because there is nothing that feels better than when you work your ass off and you get to that goal and you look back and you say, man, I left it all on the field, right? Now, how do we go and find a higher gear? And that guys, that's life for me. So I'll leave you with that, guys. I appreciate you tuning in this morning. We're here every single morning at 7:30. Tomorrow we're going to be on the road because I got to drive from here to Indiana and then to Michigan today. And but tomorrow morning we'll be live. We might be in a hotel room. We might be in the truck. We don't know. But I appreciate you guys spending every single morning with me here. And I hope this talk helped you. If it did, please share it on Facebook. It's available as of this morning on every single platform. This episode will be available this morning on every single platform: iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, all of that stuff. So please, please, please share these episodes. We're getting a lot of momentum on all of the podcast platforms, as well as we're starting to grab some momentum here too. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will see you guys again tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. I love you guys.